Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for May 18th, 2024 from the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. Kim and I started out the day at the Charlotte Pier. Here we have a small shorebird with a small bill and a single breastband. This is a semi-palmated plover. We had a total of 20 species, and one of our main goals this time of year for going there is to see shorebirds, and we were not disappointed today. We had a killdeer, 2 semi-palmated plovers, 1 spotted sandpiper, a ruddy turnstone, 4 least sandpipers, and the first semi-palmated sandpiper of the season. Next, we birded at the Firehouse Woods. We had 41 species, including hearing my first Canada warbler of the season, and also there was a mourning warbler. Next, we hiked part of the church trail, and the highlight was getting to see a Canada warbler, although the photo didn't come out very good. We had 35 species, including a nice look at a Wilson's warbler. At 9 a.m., I got over to the Hawk Watch platform. The day started out cloudy with very light winds. Eventually, it started to clear up with the sun coming out and a northeast lake breeze kicking in. Here's a nest that a bird built behind the seating area of the platform, maybe a robin or something, but it looks to be abandoned. Here we have another plover, but this one has double breastbands. This is a killdeer. Here's a song sparrow that was down in the grass eating some dandelion seeds. Here we have a raptor with a long tail and long, somewhat narrow wings and an owl-like facial disc. This is a northern harrier. We see that this bird does have some streaking to the upper breast, but it's very limited, and we see the patagial area is completely unmarked, so this is a juvenile. Here we have a large dark raptor with a large head and a lot of splotchy white underneath, especially in the wing pit area. This is an immature bald eagle, and you can see some gaps in the wing where it is molting feathers. Here's another young bald eagle, and we see a very dark head and underside of the body and an even trailing edge to the wings. This is a juvenile. Here's a blue jay that migrated past as part of a small flock. And here's another fresh juvenile bald eagle. Again, notice how dark the head and underside of the body are and very little wear on the feathers. And just for fun, here's a male mallard that flew by. From Braddock Bay Park, I had a total of 43 species. Due to that northeast lake breeze, around 11:30, I moved over to Frisbee Hill. There were periods of sun and clouds, and it was quite warm. I think today was the first day all season I didn't have to wear a sweatshirt. So a really beautiful day, and that northeast wind continued the entire day. The flight line was kind of split, with some birds off to the right, some off to the left, and some coming overhead, such as this juvenile broad-winged hawk. Broadwings are buteos, so they have that standard hawk shape. Their wings are a little bit more pointed than the other buteos we see, such as red-tailed hawks, and that's because there's only 4 feathers that make up the wingtips on the broadwings. Overall, these juveniles are very pale underneath, have some thin banding to the tail, and most of them are molting these inner primary feathers right now. Here's a somewhat distant hawk, and we'll have to rely on the shape. We see a long tail, we see long, thin wings that are somewhat pointed, we see a darker head and very pale underside to the body. This is another juvenile northern harrier. Here's another juvenile broad-winged hawk, and notice that some of them, the streaking underneath almost looks like a belly band, but really the streaking starts all the way up here on the upper breast along the sides, and we see that it does not have the dark patagial bars that red-tailed hawks would show. And speaking of, here we have a hawk that does have a belly band and dark patagial bars. This is a red-tailed hawk, and we know it's an adult because of the red tail and the dark trailing edge to the wings. Here we have a large, lanky, two-toned black and white raptor. This is an osprey. At Frisbee Hill, I had 40 species. Kim bailed on the Hawk Watch today and instead around 9:30 went over to the Owl Woods and had a whopping 85 species, including more than 20 species of warblers, including rare ones like cerulean warbler. So after the Hawk Watch ended, Kim and I went back over to the Owl Woods to hope to track down what remained of all the birds. The highlight ended up being good looks at this bird. Here we have a vireo that has a yellow throat, and we see black lores here in front of the eye. This is a Philadelphia vireo. We had a total of 43 species, including my first yellow-bellied flycatcher of the season, and the warbler variety was down a lot from when Kim was there earlier, but we did have 11 magnolia warblers. I had a total of 95 species for the day. I picked up 3 new species for the season, which were semi-palmated sandpiper, Canada warbler, and yellow-bellied flycatcher. Taking a look at the hawk count report for our migrant raptor totals, today we had 103 turkey vultures, 1 osprey, 18 bald eagles, 4 northern harriers, 99 broad-winged hawks, 2 red-tailed hawks, and 1 American kestrel for a total of 228 migrating raptors. That brings the May total to 12,031 and the season total to 64,634. Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, they're calling for partly cloudy skies with dense fog in the morning, high around 67, winds north-northwest at 5 to 10, although I think it's more westerly winds that are shifting to north or northeast. So we may end up at Frisbee Hill again tomorrow, and that morning fog may delay the start of the flight, but if it clears up, even with those light northerly winds, we could still get a moderate flight like we've been getting on other recent days over at Frisbee Hill. For Monday, it's looking partly cloudy with the high in the low 70s, winds north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So we may end up at Frisbee Hill again and would expect light to moderate migration. And also, we won't be able to go on the platform that day because of some helicopter training in the area. And for Tuesday, they're calling for a mix of sun and clouds with a high in the upper 70s, so quite warm, winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So that's a favorable wind direction, although it's fairly light, so it's likely that we'll start off with those good winds, and then as it starts to really warm up as we get into the late morning, the lake breeze will probably kick in, and we'll have to move over to Frisbee Hill. But if we hold on to those more favorable winds for a few hours in the morning, we could end up with a decent flight. All right, another great day of birding, getting to start out on the Charlotte Pier and having a nice variety of shorebirds. And while we were out there, a guy caught this huge fish. I'm not sure what kind it was. I should have asked him, but he was really excited and he gave me his cell phone to take a few shots of him with the fish because I don't think anyone would have believed it otherwise. It was a big fish. And then we had some good morning birding over at the Firehouse Woods and Church Trail. It seemed like it was really birdy today, just a lot of warblers around. A really good day to be out. And then I had to run off and do the hawk watch, which was a little bit slow. There was one nice period in the midday. And while I was doing that, Kim was over in the owl woods killing it, finding all kinds of warblers. So really good variety of songbirds around right now. And hopefully that will continue into tomorrow as well. Hope to see you out in the field or up on the platform. From Lyco Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.